And I'm doing my DJ voice here on the Long Island Sound podcast YouTube channel. This is one of my first live streams. I haven't done this in a while, and I just want to give everybody an update. We're potentially getting snowed in here on Long Island, and I thought, hey, you know what? I guess there might be a lot of people out there who are in the same predicament. Actually, I see it as a blessing, to be honest with you. It's good to catch up with the people that are out there. And I got to tell you what's happening here at the Long Island Sound. One, I feel very blessed. The channel is finally reached. I think we're going to be at 3,500 subscribers, and it's really to the fans out there who've been so generous in their comments and their corrections. To be honest with you, and I started doing. So, to give some history, I'm on my fifth year. I'm Steve Yusko, the host of the Long Island Sound. I play a little bit of music. I haven't really woodshedded the craft to the extent that I would do things in public. Maybe there's a lot of people out there like that. But I've always been enamored and, just the people, the musicians, the music community here in Long Island, what I call the wellspring of talent, has been fantastic. By the way, hey, please comment. Let me know if I'm actually reaching anybody through this live stream, and subscribe and hit that hype button if you like what I'm doing here. So I have interviewed numerous musicians and artists from Montauk to Manhattan, as I say, and around the world. And I've really enjoyed it. I've switched gears. Back in November, I started doing some talking head videos. I really like what's happening in the music industry. Jesse Wells, by the way, I think if you don't know Jesse Wells, you got to check him out. He's like a YouTube, Twitter, TikTok phenom, Dylan-esque, John Prine type of guy. I would say like a Woody Guthrie. Very singing the news, as he calls it. He was up for 4 Grammys, didn't win any, but he's won the hearts of millions of people. He's been very prolific. Anyhow, so I started putting some of his music up there and tying lyrics so people could see lyrics on the screens. And then I started doing some commentary. And I'm going to give you some behind the scenes on how I do my podcast. I'm literally right here in my bedroom here in Babylon, New York, on Long Island on the South Shore. And so anyway, I started doing some talking head videos and doing some commentary. I was trying to draw in a bigger audience, to be very frank with you. So I started commenting on Jesse Wells, and lo and behold, his fan base started talking to me, and it was really cool. And this gal, and I got to pull her up from Canada. Her name escapes me, senior moment. And she said, hey, if you like Jesse Wells, you're going to like this guy, Ren Gill from the UK, a Welsh guy. I said, okay. So, and by the way, she was so generous. She sent me an email and she said, hey, if you're going to listen to Ren Gill, you're going to want to do it in this particular order and see his video, Hi, H.I. Ren. Hard to explain. The first view of him is like, wow, this is pretty disturbing looking stuff. But then when you learn this guy's backstory, it is amazing. And I can relate to so many things in it. Anyway, for those, I would say, go look up Hi, H.I.-Ren. And you're going to see a guy who gets wheeled out in a wheelchair with a guitar. And he looks like he's in a psychiatric room. The guy who wheels him in is wearing a pig mask. Interesting. But his music, he's a bit of a rapper, classical guitarist, you name it. And I'll tell you about his backstory because I think you'll find it intriguing and you'll understand why he's in a hospital gown. So, I don't know how many years ago. Let's say it's 5-6 years ago. Ren is busking, that is playing out on the streets of London. He gets discovered. It's like a Cinderella story by some sub-label of Sony. They sign him. They're going to put him out on tour 2 months into it, his body quits on him. And he spends, I think, 20 some odd months in bed. He gets misdiagnosed. How many people out there have been misdiagnosed, right? With as being bipolar, put on psychiatric drugs, you name it. Long story short, he had undiagnosed Lyme disease. And I can't share her name, but I know an artist here on Long Island who went through something very similar and was literally almost paralyzed, couldn't sing, and world got turned upside down. Thank God Ren was able to get some stem cell therapy, I believe in Mexico and or Canada, and brought him back. So now he's like 27 years old at this point, and he's extremely prolific. And the way I would look at it, what Ren does, I would call them music novellas. And these novellas are just kind of amazing. And I'm going to see if I can pull it up in a minute here. But anyway, they're like music novellas that are all kind of tied together. And they're so intriguing. And yet you just, boom, you have to stop and look at it. But what was so cool to me is that I was able to make a connection, and a connection on multiple levels. And that connection was had to do a lot with being in pain, to be honest with you. For those who don't know, and I'm not drawing the sympathy card here, is I suffered 10 years from sciatic nerve pain. I was terrible to be with. I was on 3 Vicodin a day. Got cured, got off the Vicodin. That's for another story. But I'm going to share my screen, and I'm just going to give you a taste, of high Ren. And let me make sure I'm doing this right. And I'm going to share my screen. Bear with me one moment. And hopefully this works for all of you. Audio through the system. Okay. I'm going to share that. Okay, and let me change my layout. I apologize for doing this to you, but I'm going to change my layout so I'm smaller in the screen. Boop. There I am. Okay, and now I just want to show you a bit of high Ren, and I think you'll find it intriguing. So this is Ren Gill. Okay. And what this young lady from Canada told me to do is, hey, do a commentary video like this type of setup. Hopefully you can hear it. Dissonant chords. Okay, when I first heard this, I'm like, this is kind of whack. All right, it's almost operatic.
Hi there, Ren. It's been a little while. Did you miss me? You thought you buried me, didn't you? Risky. Cause I always come back. Deep down, you know that. Deep down, you know I'm always in periphery. Ren, on your please.
All right. I just want to stop it there because I only wanted to give you a taste of it and bring you back here. So what was so cool for me was like, okay, this is intriguing. And what's the Long Island Sound? It's supposed to be about music discovery. And so I decided to get out of my comfort zone and explore all different genres. And you'll see the history of different people that I've spoken to. There's music that I like, but I found that I was getting in kind of a rut. You know, we all love the music from our high school days. I'm a big Laurel Canyon guy, Van Morrison, Jackson Browne, Neil Young, Bruce Springsteen, all these different artists, but I used to listen to WFUV, the Fordham station, and they were like independent music with no commercials. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And there's a key word for me is independent musician. I've been fortunate enough to meet so many fine musicians from Long Island that are humping it out there, really working hard, making scraps, to be honest with you. And I appreciate also the venues out there that offer live music. And that's where my curiosity in starting the Long Island Sound podcast was, hey, when we went out, my wife and I would be like, hey, where's their live music? That was our number one requirement. Next was, okay, is there beer that my wife likes at this place? So that's a plus. And I've discovered all these different places that I'll talk about over time. By the way, if you're a venue owner, hey, reach out to me. I'd love to do a profile, an honest profile, not a puff piece on your venue, likes, dislikes, that sort of thing. Anyway, I digress. So music discovery is the key to this. And I got to tell you a little bit my origin story here about the Long Island Sound. So going back over 4 years now, there was another artist I used to follow in high schools, and I had no idea about podcasting, to be honest with you. And he said, hey, I want to do a podcast on writing songs. I said, okay. And he goes, I think you'd be a good host. All right, I'm in sales. I'm a chatty Cathy. I'm not afraid to talk to people. So we did a couple episodes and it fell apart. And we had to have his son, it was an audio podcast at the time. His son had to put it together in post, and it was an arduous process. But then I got the bug. I'm a bit of a techie guy. I said, I'm going to figure this out. Came up with the title, The Long Island Sound, from a Billy Joel speech that he did at the Long Island Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame. Amazing. Billy Joel, and I'm paraphrasing, said, hey, the Long Island Sound is more than a body of water that separates us from Connecticut. And boom, you have that epiphany moment. Found out there was no other podcast with that exact name. Snatched it up, started doing some audio podcasts. And I got to thank my good friend, Mike Nugent. Mike Nugent from Cadillac Moon, Mike Nugent and the Blue Moon Band. For the artists out there that know Mike, he's the most humble guy in the world, a fantastic artist. He's my guitar teacher. And he opened up the world to musicians. Hey, I'm just a knucklehead sales guy from Babylon. I haven't written songs. I've written a couple, but I'm not out there as an artist. And I'm kind of like music artist adjacent, I guess you could say. I'm a fan. And I'm reaching fans out there, by the way. But it was really Mike's endorsement of, hey, I'm a good guy. People knew Mike. He knew he was a good guy. And a lot of people said, yeah, I'll do it. And then it kind of, it's like anything else. It goes a little viral. One person introduced me to the next and that sort of thing. I also, one of the milestones for me was the opening of the Long Island Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame. I got to go to their grand opening. I got to run around like a nutcase interviewing all these different people who then came on the podcast. Elliot Murphy, Pete Mancini, Jim Faith, who does the Great South Bay Music Festival, and they got a great lineup. I'm going to do a separate episode, maybe a live stream, maybe get Jim back on. They got Government Mule. They've got all these great artists. It's really growing into a fantastic festival in Patchogue in July. Anyway, Jim, if you're watching, hey, reach out to me. And by the way, for those who are watching, please comment. I answer every comment that I can. And please subscribe. That helps us go a long way to continue talking about the artists that are out there. So I have a few artists that kind of come to mind. I know I'm kind of jumping all around, but this live streaming is new to me. And I want to talk about the people that are really seeing some success. So top of mind is a guy named Pete Mancini. You got to check out Pete's album. Pete's album is American Equator. And to me, if you like Oasis, if you like Neil Young, it's a rockin' album. It's a diverse album. He, one of the producers of Drive By Truckers, helped put this album together, and it's on my favorite playlist. But if you're into vinyl, I just recently got into vinyl. Go buy his album. Go on to Bandcamp and look up Pete Mancini. All right, that's the Pete plug. Pete plug. Another person met early on. She's been on a couple of times, and talk about resilience and grit. Okay, this single mom who came from Arizona, waitress, bartended, Huntington scene, doing gigs constantly. And now she's seeing, I believe she's seeing some great success. And that's Kelli, Kelli Baker, great blues singer, guitarist. She connected with Noah Sosha, this gentleman who is blind and harmonica and a blues guitarist that will absolutely blow you away. So look up Kelli Baker. Kelli, if you're watching, hi. And I want to throw in another idea, and then we'll talk about some other artists. And forgive me for those I don't mention in this live stream. But so it's kind of like a North Shore, South Shore thing on Long Island. A lot of different venues. You've got the Paramount, which is now owned by Live Nation. Ugh, big corporation. Anyway, you've got the Patchogue Theater. You've got the Suffolk Theater out east. You've got Mulcahy's that does really great stuff. You've got one of my favorite places is People's Pub. People's Pub is in Bayport. And Linda Ringhouse runs it. And they've got a great stage, very intimate. They've got a lot of national acts starting to come through there. They're open, I believe, like Thursday through Sunday. I could be wrong about that, but shout out to Linda. You're doing a great job. They've got a great sound guy, video sound system up there. They've got a green room upstairs. I was able to tour it. They're really trying to become, my opinion, the Stephen Talkhouse of the South Shore. And I wish them all the best. Always love going there and running into so many musicians. I think David Marsh might be doing a open mic or something there today. Brian Gallo. Hey, Brian Gallo, if you're watching, I'm awaiting. Want to have you on the podcast. I don't beg. I just annoy the shit out of you until you come on. Just have a conversation. Another good guy out there. And there's kind of like this collective that's happening on the South Shore. Then you jump to the North Shore. What comes to mind is a guy named Steve Prisco. Had him, and I think Tom Ryan too. They're part of the NIRMA group, the New York Roots and Music Association. And I went to a show, this is several years ago. They do like shows every 6 months where they get all these really hardworking musicians together at an American Legion, which doesn't to me look like an American Legion, in Huntington Bay, just north of the Huntington Village area. And we saw them back back a few years ago doing a Neil Young set that just blew me away. The sound system was great. Multiple musicians, like herding cats, but they do a fine job. And it was, an inexpensive ticket to see some great music. So Steve Prisco, they did another show called Duets, where they did all these duet songs, all different genres, and it was a lot of fun. So you got that going on the North Shore. You got things happening on the South Shore, and I want to talk about a show that was recently sold out, and just want to do a shout out to Bill Herman from Paradiddle Records. And if you don't know, and look this up on Spotify or Paradiddle Records. So Bill produces a lot of local acts, and what he's done over the years, he's done uncovered versions of albums. Bob Dylan, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Willie Nile uncovered. The Kinks uncovered. And they recently did, and it's like a 3-album set, Warren Zevon uncovered. And what they ended up doing is putting together a show at the Bolton Arts Center in Bayshore. And it was a sold out show. They had Willie Nile played there. Pete Mancini was the music director. Mike Nugent played in the group. Diane Lotney sang there. John Cordone, I believe, was in there. Maybe not. Anyway, it was a great show, packed audience, and they did a great tribute the day before Warren Zevon, which would have been his 79th birthday. And I look forward to the next Uncovered album that they do. And I really love the live shows. Hey, this is the time of the tribute bands that are out there. No offense, I'm not a tribute band type of guy. I'd love to hear the original music, but you do what you got to do to survive. And there are some tribute acts out there that are really kind of cool. The Adele show is excellent. The Joni Mitchell Project, which is touring around the East Coast, is fantastic. If that comes to your area, the town, they played at the Argyle Theater here in Babylon, and I think out at the Suffolk or other locations. Definitely worth put it on your bucket list. The Joni Project. So that's kind of cool of what's happening with the music area. Hey, another pitch, for this podcast. There's so many artists. I've asked them several times to come on, and so I'll give you some background on how I do that. I do everything put together in post. I have a conversation. I can have multiple guests on. By the way, I think I can have up to 8 guests at one point. I use a program called Riverside.fm. It's kind of like Zoom. This is what I'm using now, but it's like that on steroids. And then I could break it into social media and clips and magic clips and put in captions and all that stuff. And it's kind of neat. I do my research on the artist, and then I take the show and I put it up as a unlisted podcast or video, so that the artist, I respect the brand and I respect the artist, where they can review it and they say, yeah, put it up. We're going to put it up on this date, or I didn't mean to say that. Can you edit this or that out of it? And of course, I accommodate them. So that's my approach with the artists. I get contacted by different producers for acts that are coming through, so that's always fun. And I generally do my interviews on Monday or Tuesday nights or over the weekend, when artists are usually not gigging on a Monday or Tuesday. Hey, and if you're an up-and-coming artist and you want to get more exposure, the only cost for the interview is your time. That's it. I believe in putting the goodwill out there. There's a benefit for me, obviously, to have some great acts on the show here, and we treat you with really some great respect. Anyway, I know I'm kind of rambling here. It looks like I got about a half hour of a live stream up here. Please comment. Tell me if you get to see this. Reach out to me at steve@gigdestiny.com. That's my email. It's the best way, or you can IM me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. I do some social media. Just this, how many hours of the day? The bandwidth is tough. I'll leave you, especially for the artists out there. I'd like to do an open mic now that the snow is coming, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be stranded at home. I'd like to do an open mic live stream and have some of the artists who've been on the show and those who haven't come on, have a short conversation, talk about the shows and what events they have coming up, and maybe play a song live. We not only reach people around the United States and Long Island, but globally now. It just blows my mind with that. Anyway, I'm going to stop yammering. I want to thank you for those who comment and taking the time to watch this. And I'll leave you with this. And as I say, I'm going to do a shout out to my good friend Bob Murray. He told me a story. And he was volunteering for something, and the gentleman who was running it was like, "Hey, thanks, Bob, so much." Bob was like blowing him off. No, it's really nothing. And the guy stopped him. It was Joe Torre of the Mets. And I'm paraphrasing. Joe Torre basically said, "Bob, you know what? we can know how much we have in the bank, what we own. We never know how much time that we have on this earth. And the fact that you gave me your time, and I'm saying to you, the audience, you gave me your time to watch this, is really priceless. So, as I say, be generous with your joy. Keep your spirits high. Let the music take you on a journey.